Last night, a great opportunity presented itself to the Raptors to get back to that 500 mark, but they falter late on in the clutch of this game. So in today's video, we showcase what is the true separation from the Raptors meeting their true potential in the Eastern Conference. Let's get into it. Welcome NBA and Raptors fans. This is Amateur Sports, the channel where you get NBA content with a focus on the Toronto Raptors at least 4 times a week. So if you like what you see from today's video and want more of myself talking about the NBA and the Raptors and videos and content just like this, then make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Help us on our road to 8,000 subscribers, and let's close out 2021 with a great couple of weeks. So in today's video, we're kind of looking at what happened in the game yesterday against the Brooklyn Nets as the Raptors fall in such a close game, 131 to 129, and a little bit of a repeat in some fortunes that we've been seeing with the Raptors this season and really a lot last season, the Tampa season. It's where the Raptors just seemingly fall apart a little bit as we get to the clutch situations of the games. In the 2019-2020 season, the Raptors were perceived as a team that was not going to make the playoffs after Kawhi Leonard left, coming off of an NBA championship. We shocked the league and were a 2 seed in the NBA. And the Raptors, the reason why they were so good, or one of the reasons at least, was their ability to win so many of those close little finishes, those clutch situations late on in games. The Raptors were able to capitalize and find ways to turn those 50-50 games into wins. You turn a great majority of those 50-50 games into wins, you're going to be a good basketball team because those happen a lot. But the current Raptors really struggle with those. In those, again, those 50-50 situations, I feel like the Raptors come on the short end of it a lot more than not. And obviously, you can kind of look at it as a little bit of a luck. The Raptors have some shots rim out, some tough buckets on the other end, but I think that there is a trend. There is a consistent trend with this current Raptors team and where this happens. This obviously comes off of that Friday game against the Knicks where we did win one of those close games, but I think it is repetitive that the Raptors do falter a little bit in the clutch. And in this game in particular against the Brooklyn Nets, oh my goodness, was I frustrated with this game. For starters, the Raptors starters played great. We had 4 starters with at least 23 points in this game, yet we still can't come away with the win. We are up by 3 points late on in this game, and then it really all falls apart for the Raptors. We do a great job of turning a 117 to 111 deficit into a 120 to 117 lead. And then the decision-making just goes out the window. For starters, with 50 seconds left, Fred VanVleet heaved up a deep 3 that did not go. And then when we had to do a defensive set, all we really needed up 3 is 1 stop, and we would have secured the game with some free throws. The Brooklyn Nets kick it out to Patty Mills. Boucher closes out on a possession where if you look back, he really had no idea what he was doing the whole time. Patty Mills catches the pass, doesn't even pump fake. Boucher jumps so high, I think he landed off of the court trying to block the 3. I mean, Boucher, who is 6'11", who all he needs to do is really stand there with his hand up. Patty Mills sidestep. He's a good 3-point shooter. Hits the shot, but we have 12 seconds and 2 timeouts to make a play happen here. To get the win, all we need is a simple 2-pointer, and the Raptors win this game. And for the second time in less than 7 days, the Raptors decide to give Fred VanVleet an ISO in mid-range. Now, I don't want to hate on Fred VanVleet because he was amazing in this game, and he has been spectacular all throughout the season. But as it comes to the last shot play, when you need 2 points, is Fred VanVleet really your best option? And if Fred VanVleet is your best option, that's fine. The best option is him. Create a shot for him with a play. Nick Nurse decides not to call a timeout. We use the entire 12 seconds for Fred to isolate in mid-range. What made the 2019-2020 team so successful is there was a lot of good players, there was a strong bench. A lot of things made that team better. But one of those things was their ability, again, in the clutch. And it wasn't a single player who got those clutch buckets. It was the team who utilized their possession to the maximum ability. They would find the matchups, find the right isolations, and it wasn't just dribbling out the whole clock and taking a shot. Who has the best shot available? What sort of play can we run to get that shot available? What currently it's kind of like, okay, here you go, Fred, get us a shot. If you want to run that sort of play, sure, whatever. I don't like it, but that's fine. Give the ball to Gary Trent, the guy who has showcased repeatedly in his short Raptors career that he can get you a bucket when you need it and he can create that shot for himself. But the first option when you have 2 timeouts should not be that. In overtime, there was a good example of when we really did need one of those buckets. The Raptors needed a big shot to get back into the game. We were down by 4 points. We needed a 3 to get right back in the game. We run an inbound play to free up Fred VanVleet for 3. He gets open, finds some space, hits a shot. So if Fred VanVleet is your guy, that is completely fine with me. I have no problem with that. I have a problem with isolating Fred in mid-range when you need a two-pointer and you have Scottie Barnes, Pascal Siakam, and Gary Trent all on the floor with him. But in overtime, the Raptors are down 4 points late, and you give the ball to Fred out of an inbound play to draw. You draw it up so that he's open, he hits the shot. That is something that you can do anytime during the game, especially in those clutch situations. And we do that so many times during the game. What was working for the Raptors in the second half, where we really picked up the offensive flow of the game, is ball movement and creating plays and getting to the rim and making smart decisions and not just hucking up threes and making difficult shots for ourselves. But for some reason, that is what we resorted to in clutch situations of this game. Dwayne Casey got fired. We no longer just run ISO plays for specific players. We can move the ball. We can create the best shot available. And that is what is going to get the Raptors over the line in a lot of these games. But giving Fred, I love Fred again. And he's the reason why we even have this many wins on this season, albeit less than we would have wanted, obviously. I love him, but he can't be taking that mid-range shot. The last two that he's taken late on in the game when we needed a bucket, there was one against the Thunder last week where he was absolutely smothered, and the tip in by Champagny off of the miss. It almost counted, but it didn't. The Fred shot is what I'm more concerned about there. And then yesterday against the Nets, he airballed the mid-range shot to win the game. We had 12 seconds to make a good play. I at least want to see a good shot. If you create a good shot, it doesn't go in. Sure, I'm frustrated, but that's a good look, and you can peg that on the player. But what are you really doing in this situation as a coach if you're not calling a timeout with 12 seconds left? I don't understand. So these things are what is really stopping the Raptors from truly getting to that next level. And the same really repeated it over time. KD hit some big shots. Sure, Patty Mills hit some big shots. But the Raptors did resort to a lot of hero ball a lot of the time. And I really don't like that. I saw that last season in Tampa, and it's just not going to work. When you're a Raptors team who doesn't really have that real definitive go-to absolute scorer, even though I think Gary Trent is on his way there and honestly is showing some great signs of already being there maybe, the Raptors need to move the ball and create the best shot available for themselves. That is what is going to get us over the line in a lot of these close games. That is what the best teams are made of. That is how you prove that you are on the upper echelon of the NBA team, because you can win those games like that. Again, you win more of those 50-50 finishes, then you are going to be a good team in the NBA, because those 50-50 finishes happen very often in the league for teams that aren't the real top tier. Let's say the Golden State Warriors, who blow out teams by 10 points every single game. Regardless, this is where the Raptors can find their next level. They played great in the second half, but late on in the game, it was just they completely changed the game plan. Just keep doing what you're doing as things are working. Obviously, late on in the game slows down. It's played less in transition. It's more so your full 24 shot clock sets, creating a play. But create a play. Have something to respond to that stringy defense the other team is going to throw at you for those late game situations. You can come back at this point by saying, yeah, teams are going to play better defense late on in the game. That's fine, but you can adapt to those things. You can create plays to go against those things. You can run smart offensive sets to free up good looks. And if you can't, then Fred VanVleet isn't the guy to take an ISO in mid-range. You need a three-pointer. Okay, Fred has showcased that. He's one of the better guys at doing that for us. But as far as getting on the inside, Fred has been so good this season, but that is just not the right dynamic for that specific player. And if it is, and you believe it is, and that's okay with me if you believe it is, then you can do a better job at creating him a better shot where he can get a little bit more separation rather than just dribbling on the outside with 5 seconds left. Of course, Fred is going to be the one to take the shot. Of course, he's going to settle for that mid-range shot. As a defender, that's a pretty easy cover and a pretty easy stop for your team. And if you're the opposition, you're going to take that play happening so you don't have to think as much about your defense. And there's a very small potential for mistakes in that specific situation. I remember one of the best showcase of that 2019-2020 Raptors team. I think we were down 118 to 110 to the Pacers with it was 1 or 2 minutes left, something in that range. And the Raptors scored 9 straight points to end the game. And who hit the last shot of the game to give us that 1 point advantage? We were down by 2. And who hit the last shot from 3? Serge Ibaka. Not the guy that you would suspect would take that last shot for 3 to win the game, but he was the guy who was open. And Serge Ibaka, a capable shooter, knocked down the big shot when we needed it because we moved the ball and we found the open man in that. And that's just a specific situation. But the fact is, Serge Ibaka normally is not your go-to guy in a clutch circumstance. But if you move the ball around, create some separation, you find yourself open, you find a player who is open, you can trust that player to hit the shot. The bench let us down big time in this game. The starters, 4 of them had 23 points. Boucher was, decently solid on offense. Defense still needs a little bit of work, but at least he's providing some sort of benefit to the team at this point. And I'm happy with the way Chris Boucher has been playing. So the bench out of the picture because they are absolutely horrible except for that outlier against the Kings. But when you have so many talented stars as this team, you shouldn't have to rely on one specific one to go and get you the bucket when there are a lot of guys who can do that. And when you have 12 full seconds to create a play, I don't think you should burn that whole 12 seconds on a single player. And the fact that this sort of play has happened twice in the last week, it concerns me a little bit. I think the coaching just needs to sharpen up in these circumstances, and we need to find a better way to turn these close games into win. Because, it was the Brooklyn Nets. They have Kevin Durant who put up a 30-point triple-double, and he was just absolutely phenomenal in this game. However, they did not have a lot of their other assets, and they only had 3 players on their bench, one of which was Kessler Edwards, who had 17 points off the bench. I don't even know who that is, and I don't think you do either. I figured out who he was very quickly because he had 17 points, which is more than our entire bench combined. These are the things that can separate us. We know our bench sucks. It is what it is. They need to be better, but in those plays where the win is just beckoning, the play call can definitely be better. The decision-making can definitely be better. And until that changes, we're going to have more of these tough games where we can really get back to 500 and really get ourselves in the playoff picture. But things do need to change very slightly. Just tinker these things for the clutch situations. All in all, great performance. Moral victory is nice, but I'm getting a little bit full of these moral victories. I want to see some real wins. I'm hungry for these real wins, I can take these great performances from our guys. Scottie Barnes is great again, but I want to see some wins as well. It's in the nature of basketball fans. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Please give a like on the video if you did enjoy, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel for 4+ Raptors videos every single week. Other videos you can check out, and make sure to subscribe. Again, the big button is right here. So easy to subscribe. Let's get to 8,000 subscribers. I'll see you again next time for another video.